Hey, welcome everyone to the I'll Be Living Life podcast. If you like the content, kindly support me by hitting the subscribe, like, and notification buttons. Today's special guest is Colleen. She's on Instagram and her handle name is Being Colleen. Welcome to the show, Colleen.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, the pleasure is mine. Typically what I talk about with my Instagram guests is, their fabulous pictures like yours. You have a lot of nice pictures of hikes and all that stuff. That's what I'm going to be showcasing during our conversation, but today we're actually going to talk about dating.
The single life.
Yeah, I've been off that market for a long time now, but I still get asked by many advice on how to talk to women and all that stuff, and it seems to work for all my buddies, and they always usually go and thank me for it. I guess because they feel that I have a way with talking with people.
It's very different when you've been in a relationship for a long time. And then you get out of one and you're trying to get back into what dating is. And it's a completely different thing from when I was 20.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, Nowadays it's, and I'm an oldie, so nowadays I know that there's apps and there's like dating sites, and then there's Instagram, and then there's Facebook, and then there's all these other avenues and channels you can use. I find it a little bit more, I don't know. Maybe I should say it's easier now, but it's not really easier to find a real relationship maybe, and that's what I'm kind of hearing.
Yes. No, I would say that it's easy to make a first connection. I don't want to put myself up as like the one date wonder, like the one hit songs or something like that.
Yeah.
It sometimes does happen where you agree to meet someone or you chat with them for like a day and then all of a sudden they just go away. And that term ghosting, I guess, is a thing. But I try not to take it very personally because
no, you can't. I don't think you can. No.
And it's easy to hide online. Like everybody knows, right? Like it's very... Even when people are commenting on things on Instagram or on your Facebook or wherever you are, if you don't know them very well, they can easily hide who they really are online. And so it's
most definitely.
Yeah, being careful.
What you see, so a long time ago, I remember meeting someone that actually about 2 years ago when I was on Instagram for about a year. And I was telling her, I met her on a film shoot actually, and she told me, she goes, oh wow, you got pretty good following on Instagram. And I was like, yeah, you're killing it. And then she said, like, who lives like this? Right? So
yeah.
And I concur. I 100% agree with her. Like, nobody lives like this. I don't give a shit what anyone says. It's kind of like, it's a life that when you see girls out there and they're in hotel rooms and they're in these like beautiful pools and overlooking the city, like living like that every day, you would be broke. And I don't give a shit if you're a millionaire or whatever, but that does not happen in real life.
No. And it's even the same with a lot of the hiking pictures. If you relate it to like, I'm not hiking every day.
No.
I have a day job.
Likewise.
Yeah, right? So, I mean, if people who follow my stories know that I'm like teaching during the day and then I get to do things on the weekend when I can. And so, it's keeping Instagram in check is a definite thing that a lot of people should try to do more often than they actually do. So
that's right. Take it for what it is, and that's what I feel. Like my hiking pictures, people think I'm hiking every day. I'm not hiking every day. I take care of a lot of things at work, and I do that 5 times a week. Sometimes I even do it a 6th time a week.
Right.
But on the times that I do hike, I end up gathering, I guess, enough pictures during my hike that I can fulfill my Instagram.
Exactly, right? Or it's even just, it's the one thing that I'm good at hoarding is pictures on my phone.
Exactly, likewise.
Yeah, it's hard to know what to get rid of.
So how has it been like during the pandemic? And I mean, give it a little bit of a, I don't know, break it down, the difference between pre-pandemic and pandemic during the dating thing. If you have guy questions, you can ask me.
Well, I think a lot of it is just knowing someone's full intention, right? Like it's hard to gauge that when you're talking to someone online rather than in person. You get a completely different vibe from someone online. I never ever pictured that I would have to use online dating to like meet someone. And it's fine. I've come to terms with the fact that this is what everybody does. I mean, there's not even really anywhere to hang out anymore like when we were 20 and you used to go to nightclubs. I mean, I'm aging myself. I think everybody knows that. It's one of those things that when you were younger, you could go out and you just chatted with people and you had all your friends that were, most of them were all single as well. A lot of friends now are married and have their lives, and so they're not out looking, or, and it's not that I'm out looking all the time, but it's nice to know that,
Yeah.
it's nice to know that eventually I'm not going to be by myself. And if I'm by myself, that's fine too. From a guy's perspective, what would a guy want to do to approach someone? Or is there such a thing as guys approaching girls in person anymore? Or is it just online from what you hear?
Honestly, I think a lot of it these days, especially with the whole Me Too, and I get it, like 100% understand
Yes.
that. But then
Yes.
once you start talking to somebody, they feel that, oh my God, like what is he trying to do? Like, and then they kind of back away, or if they don't know you, they feel like it's a little bit creepy and stuff like that. And I 100% agree with that. So that's why I'm saying because of that, there's, the guys.
There's more caution.
Yes, there's a lot of caution involved, and I think the guys would be a bit tentative. And when they do be a little bit more aggressive, I feel that that's a bit much too. So
Yes.
it's such a hard place,
There's a fine line, and again, like anybody who's followed me or knows me very well, I'm an open book about the fact that the first person I dated post-divorce was not the best guy in the world that I met online. And so that's why I became involved with Battered Women's Support Services and volunteering with their fundraising store, their thrift store. And so then you get over that and you start going again. But I find the hard part is, even when people do approach you in person, I do my best to look at them as just a person and realize it's someone saying hi. It's someone making an approach. And I can't imagine having to be the person who always has to do the approaching, because like you just said, there's so much weighing on, are they going to think I'm too aggressive? Are they going to think this is going on? And it's, right? Or are they going to get shot down? Like, I have single friends who literally would shoot guys down in a second. And I'm like, all they did was say hi.
I think guys shouldn't be like that. I don't think they should be scared of getting shot down. Like, I mean, big deal. You get shot down, you're never going to see that person again. Who cares? Like, I remember one guy talked to me one day and he's like, how did you do that? Like, I was like, how did I do what? And he goes, well, you just went up to those 3 girls there and you just started chatting. I was like, just open your mouth, man. That's it.
Yeah.
Be real.
But I bet those guys have probably been the ones that have been shot down a few more times than they'd ever want to be. And it just starts to hit your confidence, right? Like, it's one of those things that people are driven by feeling good and having a confident level. And if they don't get that given to them, then they don't know how to deal with it anymore, or they don't know where to put it.
I never feel that you should be starting a conversation like, hey, you want to go date? You want to go you want to go for coffee, or you want to go nothing?
That's a hard no.
I feel that's just ridiculous. Like, I think the first thing to do is to get to know the person and just say hi, right? And that's what I suggested this one guy do. I go, just go open your mouth, man. Whatever comes out of your mouth, just say it. It doesn't really matter what you say. Like, treat it like you're talking to a guy.
And that's, I feel that sometimes is where all of us are people, and all of us are just sometimes looking for connections, whether they end up being a platonic connection or a romantic connection, or however it falls into. People like people for the most part.
Yeah.
I may not like all people all the time, but like, for the most part, people can be genuine and can be reliable and can be personable. You just have to give them that chance to have that happen. So
yeah, like, I'm super personable, and that goes for my work as well. Like, I would just go and just talk to anybody. It doesn't matter who you are. I don't care if you're guy, girl, old, young, whatever. It doesn't matter to me. I just I like talking to people. So that's one thing. When I do talk to someone, like, I just want to know about them, and I want to learn about them, because you can learn stuff from everyone, I feel.
exactly.
Whether, I don't care if you're the cleaner of the building or if you're the president of the company, I feel that there's something to be, learned from everyone, it's kind of weird. And I feel that, I kind of do my day that way every single day. I don't look up to anybody, and I don't look down to anybody. And
so that's what my dad taught all of us. Like, so we were raised by a dad who just always saw everyone, where you didn't get respect just because you were the senior person. You got respect because you were a person. And a lot of that was still instilled in me.
Perfect.
Working in the downtown. Yeah. I worked in the downtown east side for 17 years.
Yep.
And it was just, like, those people are still people, no matter what their background was.
100%.
You smile at them, you say hi. it's just it's makes everybody's day.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's just easier. That's why I find it easier to approach anybody. I really don't care who you are. And that's why I said to this guy, just go open your mouth. Treat it like you're talking to a guy. If you're nervous about talking to a girl, just what would you say to your buddies?
Yeah.
And honestly, when you do that, people know it's genuine. It's like, oh, this guy's actually talking from his heart, right? I feel there's more of a connection that way. And if people feel creeped out because I'm talking to them, so be it. If they feel creeped out, then don't talk to me.
And that's something a lot of the time that's on themselves, right? So
yep.
that's where it gets hard.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Yeah, go for it.
I have a question. I find that younger guys tend to have a little bit more courage in approaching us. Like, so if me and my girlfriends were out pre-pandemic, when we would go out
yeah.
and hang out in the bar lounges downtown or anything like that, it was younger guys that seemed to have no problem coming over and saying hello.
Yeah.
And the older guys seemed to always want us to approach them or to us to kind of, and I was like, you can't say hi? Like, if you've been through your experience that, like, no. So it was interesting. And I don't know if, like, you talking to guys, if you find a difference between young guys and older guys.
Yeah, younger guys are just more like they don't really care.
Right.
And I think that's the main thing. I feel the older guys are a little bit more they're more aware of themselves and they know what they can achieve and what they can't achieve maybe. And I feel that maybe some guys are like, well, I don't know. I don't think they're going to talk to me anyway, so forget it.
And that could come from experiences where they've been shot down too many times.
Yeah, maybe.
So it's like a little bit of both.
Yeah, I think a little bit of both. But young guys, you're going to get like the extremes. I feel that you're going to get the very guys that they don't really care. They're just enjoying life. They don't, whatever.
Yeah.
And then you get the very socially awkward ones where they'll never do anything, or they don't know how to, or they'll never know how to conduct themselves in front of people. You know what I mean? I don't know. Maybe it's either a gene in you or not. I don't know. Maybe it's something that's just that I'm just born with, where I can kind of roll with anybody. I can hang out with 20-year-olds. I can hang out with 30-year-olds. I can hang out with 60, 70-year-olds. It doesn't really matter to me.
The person is the person.
Yeah, and I like I said, I find a lot of like just talking to people super easy. You know, I don't find it difficult at all. I really enjoy it. And I think more guys need to be like that. People need to open up a little bit. You got one freaking life to live, right? Mm-hmm. And what are you worried about? Like that's my question.
Yeah. Well, and it's the same. I think that you got to go with what's going on. And I mean, if you smile at someone and they smile back, great. If they roll their eyes at you, that's on them too. You can just, it's no big deal.
Don't go stalking somebody for 10 blocks and, like that doesn't make any sense at all.
I'm definitely not promoting that.
No, neither am I. So I would think for me, like from what I've been hearing from these dating apps and these dating sites, I have a couple of young buddies of mine, and one's married now, met their person from an online dating thing as well. Yeah. But oh man, this one's a creepy as shit because he's fallen off the face of the earth. Okay, so I haven't even seen this guy since he started dating her. They have a kid together. I bumped into him once, and then he's like, "Oh, she doesn't let me do anything." I go, "So no more sports, no more nothing, right?" So this guy's actually literally fallen off the face of the earth for our group, and very disappointing. But and then I hear from the other ones where a lot of it, even though, okay, this is going to sound a little bit ridiculous, and I'm sure a lot of people know of it, but it's more of a booty call site than anything. And he was saying that he's not even out there looking for that. He's more like looking for a relationship, but it just seems like it's a one-off, and then you don't see them, and then maybe you see them second, third time, and then you don't see them anymore.
I think that's where, and I might have said this to you, or I said it to someone recently when we were talking about this sort of stuff, and every app is what you put in, you're going to get out. Mm-hmm. So if I put out there that I'm only looking for something casual, then that's probably what's going to come back to me. And it's up to me whether I want to do it that way or not. Yeah. I mean, I was chatting with one guy a little while ago, and he was like, I'm only all about casual. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm not in the mood. That's not my thing right now. Not what I'm looking for. Mm-hmm. And he was like, great, thanks. Nice chat. take care of yourself, and away he went, right?
Yeah.
And so it's just kind of funny that that's what starts to happen. But I also know people, and like you just said, your friend has gotten married off a site. Like I know someone who has been with their boyfriend for 8 years, and they met on Tinder. So I think, again, it's I also related it to someone at work the other day who she has decided she's going to try Tinder after listening to my stories, and we were laughing about it. And she's like, I said, it's basically like thrift store shopping, where the right item has to be in the right place and the right person has to pick it up in that moment.
Yep.
And that's what has to happen. Like, whether you want it to be casual, whether you want it to be long term, again, it's you put your tag on it and away you go, and you hope you catch what you want.
Yeah. And I think that way, I think going through an app, I'm not gonna say that it's I think the chances of finding the perfect person is still pretty slim.
Oh my God, there's so many people on there.
Yeah. And I still think it's kind of slim, but I feel that if you're really going to go meet somebody, and I think it's just by circumstance. I think a lot of it's by circumstance, or by friends of friends, or colleagues or something like that, right?
Well, that's the thing. Like, everybody laughs at the fact. So my husband, now ex-husband, was someone that I met in the bar when I was 22 years old.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
So his group of friends and my group of friends started chatting with each other, and then at that time you still exchanged phone numbers. So we did.
Yeah.
And then he got up the nerve in the 3 days. That was the golden rule back then, to give me a call.
That's funny.
And then, I mean, like I said, we were married and had 50, well, we were together almost 20, married for 15.
Yeah.
And, life happens and we're now divorced, but that's where I had met him. And so it's not even a guarantee that when you meet someone at a different time, you're always going to have them around. So.
Yeah. So my recommendations to guys out there, just go and talk. Like, if you see someone you're interested, go talk to them. I mean, it doesn't always have to be that way where that's what you're trying to do. Your end game is to be dating this person. I don't think you should have a vision of that far ahead. I think just getting to know the person first is the best thing ever.
Absolutely.
And I mean, and if you're not going for the dating thing, like, wipe that right off your head and just go talk to people. Like, say for instance, like anywhere I go or at my workplace, that's not my vision. My vision is just to get to know that person and get to know them, or maybe we do lunch or whatever. It doesn't matter, guy, girl, it doesn't matter. For me, it's just more about getting to know that person. And if they feel that, this guy is too much or whatever, you can back away. I really don't care. I have enough friends in my life that I don't need anymore. But it is.
And I think that's the thing for girls too, is the understanding. But again, everything always comes back to what experiences they've had for a guy or a girl, in what will lead them to how they're going to be receiving an energy or even giving an energy, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, honest to God, if anyone was to smile or say hi to me, I'm like, hey, how's it going?
Yeah.
Most times, if I don't want to talk to someone, I'm probably not going to make that eye contact with you. But it's an interesting world. And we'll
it is
see how
an
it
interesting,
goes.
and it's like I said, it's the new world. It's it's a pandemic time, so things are a little bit challenging right now. But just be yourself, and I think people. Go ahead.
I will say, because you were bringing about the pandemic too, and we talked about before, but like through the pandemic, there wasn't a whole lot of engagement or different things. But now that the world is opening up, it's amazing how many more people are starting to try and make connections again.
Good.
And feeling safe to be able to do it. So, I mean, that's how I got up my last hike, was the fact that the world is opening up again, and it's like, well, hey, we're all doing this, and who wants to come? And I'm like, I'm in.
Yeah. That's kind of cool too. Like, especially like those hiking clubs or something.
Yes. I'm
Yes.
so excited that they're open again.
So, would you mind sharing that story about what happened, your first guy after you...
After my divorce?
After your divorce, would you mind?
No, totally.
Because I would like to help other people understand some of the red flags out there and all that stuff too.
Well, and so to be honest, it was funny. So not funny. I got divorced, and I gave myself a good year, a full solid year, to take care of myself, get myself in a head place, know that I was healthy in the sense that if I was to meet someone, I was going to be in the right frame of mind to be able to have a relationship with a person.
Which is super fair. Yeah.
Right. And I think that should be of anyone who's going to be in any kind of relationship. You need to be available to be in it, whether it be a friendship, whether it be a family, whether it be anybody. Having your self be available to do that is a good idea.
And 100% no rebounds, right? That's what I'm thinking.
No, I am completely, that's so not my thing. So it had been a good year and a half by the time it was off Bumble. So I was on Bumble. And I was swiping on Bumble and matched with this gentleman who we ended up engaging in amazing conversations. Brilliant guy, creative guy, seemed like a genuine caring person. And we met each other within a week and had gone for a coffee and enjoyed each other's company, and then 2 days later spent a whole day together. And I'm the type of person who can almost hang out with anyone. It's very, very rare for me to not get along with someone or not want to be involved with someone. And we were together for, I want to say, about 5.5 months.
Okay.
And then in that last month, there were probably a few things looking back now that would have been flags or would have been things to take notice of. He kind of became a little bit jealous over things that I was like, okay, what are you jealous about? And then he'd chalk it up to being, well, I'm not a very patient person. And I'm like, okay, well, you've been pretty patient and you've been pretty understanding. And so just slowly a few things would start to change. He wanted to take my car for a weekend when I was going to be away. And I was like, no, I'm not giving you my car. I don't really know you that well. I was like, no, I don't even give my sister my car. I'm not giving it to you.
No kidding.
And so, there was just a few things that, it wasn't, like, I was very clear in my boundaries. Again, at the end of my marriage, I think when you're in a relationship, sometimes someone becomes the at-home person, and that became me when I was married. I was at home, didn't go out, didn't do a lot of things, lost a lot of friendships, just life changed.
Yep.
And then I decided when I was single, no one's going to make me back away from anything. No one's going to tell me which friends I can hang out with, what I can and can't do.
Yep.
And so I'm very clear on what I expect, and I want someone who's not going to just keep me, but want to be a part of what I already have and what I already am going in.
Yep.
And so, he started to get a lot more jealous, started to have a few more things go on. He actually went through, I had an older Instagram a long time ago, and we connected with each other on Instagram, and he literally went back 5 years to when I still had a picture on there of my ex-husband and just lost his shit on me. And I was like, dude, you weren't even around at that time. Like, I was just like, you need to relax. And so, and me being me, I'm a person who tries to believe in backgrounds. He admitted fully he had a very bad background. And so not wanting to fix anybody, but our last night together, was not a great one, and ended with me calling police on him. And he actually did get arrested and spent a night in jail. I never want to say that I was a lucky one, but I am luckier than some women out there, or people that have put in positions where they fall. I don't want to say victim, because you're not falling victim. You're having something happen to you that creates a situation where you do become a victim. You never fall to being a victim.
Yeah.
And so it's one of those things where he was known to police, I found out later on. And then the odd thing is, through Instagram, I met up with one of his old girlfriends, and we shared stories, and she's now one of my closest friends because she had gone through a lot of the same similar things, but just had never reported him. I was lucky to go to Battered Women's Support Services, because it did involve a night where he did strike me once.
Oh, I'm so sorry that happened to you.
Yeah, thank you.
What a turkey.
Total asshole.
Yeah.
And that's what he is. And I did, in all honesty, go through a little phase where if people would bring him up, or people would see that they're connected to him, I'd be like, stay away, this is what happened. And they were like, oh yeah, I did kind of notice those flags. I'm like, yeah, run now.
Wow.
And so, it's just, it's one of those things that it was unfortunate that was the first person that I met and had a relationship with. But he did technically sweep me off my feet. It was one of those things where I was married for 20 years, and the little thing like my husband knowing exactly what kind of coffee I liked, or like how I liked it, was just not his thing. He didn't remember stuff like that. So it was never a fault of him. It was just something that wasn't in his forte. Whereas this person I dated, he did within like 2 months. And I was like, wow, this guy like notices like every little thing. I'm like, oh, this is why he notices every little thing, because then he's going to use it against me. But that was a trying time in that long period of time. And so we had gone through a court case. Unfortunately, even with him having done it before, he got let off with a lighter sentence because our system does not recognize that they have enough manpower to criminally charge someone like him. So it's never on his record. It's kind of
That's a joke.
He basically had a year of having to have no contact with me, which for him was easy. He doesn't care. He just moved on to the next person.
Yep.
I did report his profile to Bumble, and they sent me a really, really nice email response. They took him off Bumble, completely had him removed, and you know, they don't tolerate that kind of stuff on their site. And so it's just one of those things that it's still surreal that it happened to me, that it wasn't as bad as it could have been, and that I, again, did a lot of work and put myself into a lot of victim services unit gives you therapy and lets you get through things. And so you make those connections with people who you need for those times. And that's what I did. I'm a firm believer in always forcing myself, whether I want to or not, getting that help where you require it for what you're going through in that time. And so, so he had gone back and forth to court. I was told that he would be criminally charged, and then they were like, no, he can't. And one lawyer, dealing with Crown Counsel was ridiculous. That was the most insane time ever. They were like, you can write a victim statement. No, you can't. And I was like, okay, if he's allowed to plead to a lesser charge, I'm facing him in court so he can hear my voice for that last time.
Yeah.
I'm getting my final word. Like, that was just kind of and I did. I wrote a victim statement that had to actually be edited for his rights, which is another thing that's so annoying about our system. And so, but I had my parents came with me. I had a good group of girlfriends from work who came with me. His ex-girlfriend came and sat with me in the court because she was like, I could never have done that myself. So she needed to be there. Yeah. And so it became a really powerful day. And it was, something that really kind of was therapeutic and I needed to go through. And but behind me, it's still occasionally I get a trigger when certain guys say certain things. So there's that experience.
Yes.
Right? Like, you never want something to be the reason you hold back or the reason you don't do something. Yeah. But there's definite reminders or definite moments where I'm like, oh, wait, that's kind of the thing he would say. And then it turned into this. And I'm like, and then you try to reel that in and go, this is a different person. This could be that he's just making an honest mistake, or he didn't choose his words correctly, or maybe I didn't say something correctly. It's a really, it's a fine line.
Yeah. Like I have to say, no, kudos to you. And thank you. And thank you for sharing. Majority of my watchers and followers on Instagram are female. So, I'm, super glad that you're willing to share this story. And I'm sorry it happened to you. That the guy sounds like a complete ass. Our judicial system sucks ass as well. So it does. It's horrible, especially Young Offenders Act and all that other stuff. It's just horrible. But I'm glad you're here, and I'm glad you're able to share it, and you're going to move on to greener pastures for sure. Exactly. Yeah.
And that's why I find myself very protective of people now too. So it is one of those things that you take it, it's done, and you look at where you can get you never want to say where you can get some kind of good out of something, but you definitely do understand things differently because you see the world in another light. So
yeah, especially if you ask me, like I've heard this from many people, right? Like guys like bashing, the family, or vice versa, where the female's bashing the guy's family, or, but for no right reason or anything like that, right? Or even like self-harm to kind of make them feel bad for them, right. I've heard of that many times now too. And I'm like, if that doesn't show you red flags, I don't know what will,
And it's again one of those things that are so challenging to figure out where's a meaning behind something, or where is that person's motivation or intention with what they're doing. And you're never in someone's head, so you're always, you just can only take care of yourself and hope that you're the good person and you're doing what is right for you. And so I'm very clear in my boundaries now, and I'm trying to raise two boys that are
Yep.
the same way, and that's me.
Yep, and you just got to know when to turn around and walk away, and that's
Exactly.
and you got to see those clear signs, and you know,
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of what my advice is. Like I haven't lived that life before, but I do recommend that if you can see all those signs, definitely walk away.
Yeah. And that's,
Yeah.
I mean, I never ever would have pictured that this was me, you know? And so I'm that walking proof that it's like, it really, not walking proof, but it's one of those things where, I mean, I thought I was a pretty independent, strong,
Yeah.
understanding person, and it's very easy to fall for certain things and to not see other things. But,
I bet you it happens a lot more than we know.
completely. So
Yeah.
that's my, like, in working with the battered women's support system and volunteering at the thrift store, hearing the stories and coming to terms with understanding what a lot of women have gone through, it's scary.
It is.
You know, it's one of those things where you really have a different level of understanding for people and what they go through,
Yeah.
and how it affects them later on. So
Thank you for joining me, and thank you for sharing your story. And you know, I appreciate you sharing your story, and hopefully we gave a little bit of dating advice out there too.
maybe don't follow it because I'm just kidding.
No. So anyways, if you're not following Colleen, give her a follow. She's on Instagram under Being Colleen. That's BeingColleen. I'll be posting up her lovely shots on my Instagram.
Thank you.
And yeah, like I said, thank you for joining me today.
Yeah, this is fun.
Good. Now, next time we'll have to get your buddy Steffi, who I've already had on my show once before. We can do like a multi-player game here, and maybe
I think that would be hilarious.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Yeah.
Okay, for me, if you like the content, kindly support me by hitting the subscribe, like, and notification buttons. And that's it for this show, and we'll catch you next week. Thanks.